Okay, very good evening to all of you. Sorry for making you a little, wait. I'm Harsh Patodia, mathematics expert at askIITians, an IIT Roorkee graduate. So I welcome you, all of you, to our webinar of 7 short questions to come in CBSE board exam, grade 12th. So as promised in the last webinar, so today I'll be going into deep of what kind of questions can be asked and what are the trend lines as far as 6 marks are concerned. So my agenda will be not to just give you 7 questions, but those concepts which are very important, as the questions might be here and there, but concepts they remain the same. Okay, so I have done a lot of analysis on last previous year 3-4 years of papers and which I have shown. Okay, so I would like you guys to explore that more. Okay, and let's see how it goes, right? So let's start with quickly with the very first thing, the 6 markers trend, the 6 markers question. Like till 2015 and 16 there used to be 7 6 markers. Like from last year onwards the pattern of the paper have been changed and 2 markers were introduced, so the number of 6 markers are now 6. So as you guys can see that one question is confirmed from relations and functions, and most probably it will be a binary operation question or a functions equivalence relation inverse. So we will look at the questions on important concepts that are going to come. Next you can see that 3D is again most important, maxima minima, area under curve. So these 4 chapters have always been observed, and matrices and determinant, it got skipped in 2015, but it is also like if I see last 10 years, so matrices and determinants is always there. Okay, so that is gonna be there for sure. Okay, so make sure that we are doing that as well. And last 2 as we can see here, probabilities, again it was there 2000 till 2016. Now last year it was observed that it came in 4 markers. Fine, so let us continue the first chapter as it was expected. So 3D questions, you can note down the question and I'll explain that what are the concepts and that already came in previous year. So we have to find the vector as well as Cartesian equation of plane which is passing through the intersection of these 2 planes, and the given plane is at a distance, unit distance from the origin. So here basically we can use P1 plus lambda P2 and we can equate the distance of that plane from origin to be 0 to get the lambda. So P1 plus lambda P2 is representing the family of planes, as all of you know, right? And again there are a lot of other questions which are coming from 3D, like plane passing through intersection of 2 lines, and one more condition is given like that. So basically to get the plane we need normal and we need a point on it, right? So as soon as I have been given 2 lines which are intersecting, so I know 2 vectors lying on those lines and I know the directions of 2 lines, so I can get the perpendicular direction, right, by doing the cross product of their directions. Similarly, like questions are asked from this distance along the line, okay, which comes in 4 markers, okay, or maybe 2 marker this time. So let's look at the concepts that have already come. So 2015, as the expected, planes containing 2 intersecting lines and distance between the point and the intersection of line and plane. So distance of the point was given and it was asked that find the distance between that point to the point intersecting the plane, and the line was given. Okay, 2016 again equation of plane was asked, passing through intersection of 2 planes, similar to what we are expecting in 2018. And coplanar points, again that was there in options. Image of a point in line, again a very important concept. Obviously you guys have done that in grade 11th as well. So you just need to write x minus x1 by a is equal to y minus y1 by b is equal to z minus z1 by c. So basically these questions, like these concepts, I would say they are really important if you talk about 3D, and it's not very difficult to score. We need to know that we need to get normal, we need to get the point, okay, and then everything we can play with the direction ratios. That's it, okay. Then we have got interaction of plane with line, again 2017. So plane is bound to come, whether it is passing through 3 points, whether it is passing through 2 intersecting lines, or whether it is passing through 2 intersecting planes, right? And coplanarity question again comes, so we can it can be asked that prove that these 4 points are coplanar. So their scalar triple product will be used. Then important concepts, as I have mentioned, that you need to be very thorough with direction ratios and vector and Cartesian form of lines and planes. If you do this much, then definitely you can score. This chapter is having almost weightage of 17 including vectors, but 3D itself is having almost 10 mark weightage. So this chapter can be considered very important, very easy to score, and the concepts that I mentioned, if you guys follow that, it's going to be very simple. Let's look at the second question, okay, without wasting any time. So let's look at the second question. So basically the question that is again gonna be coming short, that will be from probability. So you guys can note down the question, and then we can see that the concepts that are being explained we can use, right? So you can take the screenshot, you can pause it if you want, right? So a husband and a wife appear for an interview for 2 vacancies. The probability that husband selection is given, probability that wife will be selected is given, right? Now what is the probability that only one of them will be selected? So one question comes on classical probability, where you have to use some set theory and all, where the events are independent and maybe one of them is getting selected, at least one, at least 2, like that is given, right? So it's nothing but A union B if you talk in terms of set theory, right? So we need to make obviously Venn diagrams will be very helpful. Otherwise we can directly use the concepts of probability. One of them getting selected means only one of them means either only A or only B. So we can say A B dash plus B dash B A dash. So that will be only one. At least one, I was telling the second part, that was a union, right? So it can have AB complement plus A complement B. So like this we can figure it out, and this is a classical probability question using the set theory. Now second one obviously is the Bayes theorem. That is a favorite question of examiners, and this is one of the most important theorems for whether you're talking about board level, JEE level, or any other entrance. So this is the favorite question of examiner. You can read the this thing. You just need to figure out that here in an examination, an examinee either guesses or copies or knows the answer. So there are 3 cases, right? So if you know the answer, it means you're short gonna give it right. If you guess, so guessing again there's a probability, like it's equally probable for guessing each options. So if there are 4 options and I'm guessing it, so probability I'll get it correct is 1/4. And if I'm copying it, so it depends on the person from whom I'm copying, right? So that probability is given. So probability, if he copies, the answer it's the correct is 1/6, and guessing part is 1/3, right? And the probability that his answer is correct given that he copied is 1/8, right? So we have been given a conditional probability that if the answer is correct, and it is correct given that he copied, right? So that is 1/8. Now this is a very good question as far as the language is concerned. If you are able to solve this type of problem, we can solve any of the Bayes theorem probability questions. So probably you can give it a try, and if you're not able to get, post it in comments. We can post the solutions later on if required. Fine. So time to move on to the next problem. Now before moving to the next problem, we'll see what are the important concepts used in probability. So 2015, it is having probability using set properties, as the question we discussed. Mean variance is a short question again. I have not brought that question here. Why? Because the question was one we can make as a probability distribution also. Probability that x is 0, none of them get selected. X is equal to 1, one of them gets selected. 2 of them get selected. Like that we can make probability distribution in first question itself, and that is one of the easiest topic which most of us don't practice. So try to practice questions from mean and variance, because that's a one short question. As you can see, in all 3 years it was there, and probably this year you will see it in 6 markers. So Bayes theorem is again one of the probable question that can come. Then maybe one question from classical probability using some set properties or independent events, that can be there. So probability has a very good weightage as far as boards are concerned, and you can expect 2 to 3 problems, out of which mean variance is going to be short and Bayes theorem is going to be short, right? Important concepts again I mentioned, these are independent events, conditional probability, Bayes theorem, and classical probability. So let us jump onto the third question now, looking what is gonna come next, right? So your eyes are on the screen now. So third question again, it's like I don't need to predict, everyone knows, right? Linear programming. And as far as the question is concerned, from past 2-3 years it has been observed that board guys are not working on this chapter. Okay, although I have given a very complex problem this year, maybe I'm expecting that for last 3-4 years the questions have been pretty easy, pretty basic LPP problems. They are directly giving the equations, because they also know that the equation doesn't matter, all the people are solving, and this year they gave it in 4 marker instead of 6 marker every, like till 2016. So 2017 for the very first time 1 4 marker and 1 2 marker came, and even in 2016 and 15, as we will be seeing, right, it will be very straightforward problem. So as you guys can note the question, and some of you might have already done this one, so I have not put in a lot of effort here. I just put this chapter. Why? Because I wanted to tell you 2-3 things, that while making the graphs we are not at times making feasible regions properly. So that thing we should keep in mind, and feasible regions should be drawn properly. And while writing the information, make sure that first you find what to solve. Okay, now the first thing that is written in the question is least cost, right? So least cost means that is our function that needs to be minimized. So write an equation which is having least cost. So cost will depend on foods, right? So definitely we can take x quantity of one food, y quantity of second, and z quantity. If there are 3 or 2 are there, so x and y, right? So this is the very first thing you need to identify if it's a problem. Otherwise all the other things are pretty easy. So let's see the concepts that came. Okay, I hope you guys have taken the screenshot up for the same, or if in case you can pause the thing and note it down. Fine. So the important concepts that came in linear programming included, like, maximize the given equation with given constants. 2015 witnessed a very simple problem. 2016 again, maximum returns on investment. So a person invested in 2-3 ways and he was getting returns, and there were some constraints that minimum this amount has to be invested in that. So again, very simple questions. And if you see questions before 2012 or 13, right, the questions used to be good, and there used to be a variety, as I have written in the important concepts: the cost optimization, diet problems, profit loss, feasible region, and feasible points. Like, obviously these things are important things to be kept in mind. And 2007 again, as I told you, that there were 2 questions. 4 marker was maximize the given equation, the constraints were given, and in 2 marker they asked for the formulation to minimize the cost. So I don't see much innovation in this chapter, and the questions are going to be very standard. Now you can expect a direct question. In a worst case scenario, you will get a complex problem which I have given you. So this chapter I think everyone knows that, but yeah, important change is that a 4 marker and a 2 marker is expected to come this year instead of a 6 marker, because number of 6 markers have decreased. So I am wondering now, like, we should move to the next problem without wasting any time, because you guys are already very tensed. Boards are very near and you guys have got very less time, and so let's not waste further time. Now, application of derivative, I have brought 3 questions. Okay, and basically 2 of them are gonna be there for sure, and again, one is probably there, but I have just given so that you guys can have one additional question for practice. So first question, as you can see, you will find a similar question in your boards 2018 for sure, that there will be a box made up of different shape, or you can be given angle in cone, or maybe a cuboid, cylinder, sphere, right? Anything can be given, conical tent can be given, and one of the figures will lie inside, something like that. So basically, just hold on for a second. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Yeah, so basically, when I'm saying that the box part which is given, so one of the shapes of the box will be given, and you will be asked, some part is cut, or some part is removed, or some part is inserted. So what will the maximum area, maximum volume of that thing, as we will be seeing in the pattern that has been coming. The third question again is confirmed, that you will be provided with a function and you have to find its increasing and decreasing nature. The second question that I have brought here, I thought like this year we might witness a change. Instead of getting a maximum minimum question in 6 marker, we can expect maybe a tangent normal question, because that has not appeared for last 3 to 4 years, and in past it was there. CBSE used to ask, but from last 3-4 years, as we can see here now. So the concepts used 2015, again local minimum maximum of a function is given, okay, and in 4 marker they have asked rate of increase of area. So some information was given about perimeter and all, and it was asked that how the area is changing. 2016 had 2 questions, but again the questions came in choice. So maximum volume of cone was again asked, a very famous question of semi-vertical angle as sine inverse of 1/3. So that question was there, and monotonicity of function was asked, like whether discuss the increasing decreasing behavior of function. 2017 again maximizing the surface area of given solid, and monotonicity is again there, right? Rate of increase of surface area. So tangent to curve was asked in 2016, again in 4 markers, right? So it can appear, so tangent to the curve has got least probability out of the questions that I have discussed here, but maximum minima is gonna come 100% question like this, where you will be given a sheet or you will be given a solid out of which you are making. So you have to use the information that is given, and you have to maximize the equation that is being asked in terms of information given, right? For increasing decreasing functions, obviously you can use first derivative, second derivative test, get the critical points, see plus minus signs, and then conclude that whether it will be increasing or decreasing in the given interval. So I hope you guys are very clear with the things that we have discussed so far, okay. Without wasting any time, let's look at the next problem. So matrices again has been favorite of examiners, and this chapter has actually witnessed innovation as far as last 3 to 4 years is concerned. So when I gave the paper, during that time the favorite of examiners were elementary row transformation, and then there will be one simple question and finding the inverse, right? But now from last 3-4 years, very innovative questions are asked, where so I believe that they have shifted their focus from linear programming to matrices, where they are basically making good problems, and you have to make them represent the information in the form of matrices, and then find the individual things. So as you can note this question, similar problems have been observed over last 3-4 years, and I believe the trend will continue this year as well. So elementary row transformation is least likely to be asked as per the trend, although there is a possibility you don't leave, because otherwise it will take long time. So at least practice 2-3 problems from elementary row transformation, but the probability will be more of getting an innovative problem, and this will be a value based question, where definitely you have to write one line on your own, which will give you 1 mark. Like you can read here last line, okay, in which, in your view, which type of person is better for society and for nation. So these are value based question in matrices that are coming, and whatever information we need to find, so XYZ is there, right? And we have 3 kinds of people: honesty, hardworking, and people who go for unfair means, right? So different compositions of societies are given, and instead of locality A, it's locality X in the beginning, okay? And while in Y, 10 beliefs. So we have been given a composition that these many people believe in these things from these societies, and incomes are given for these people. Okay, so you have to make the matrix of locality versus the type of belief these people have. Okay, and simply you can multiply and get the solution. So not a very difficult problem. Now the concepts that have been used. Okay, so article sold in a school again was a similar problem where matrix multiplication was used in 2015. Inverse is again one of the favorite questions that can be asked in 4 markers for matrices. As far as the weightage is concerned, 2 to 3 problems are expected from matrices. So as you guys are looking at the problems, so matrix polynomial was asked in 2016 along with the choice in the determinant question. So there in 2016 there was choice between matrix polynomial and finding the determinant, okay, in 6 marker, and the product of matrices to find the total values. The similar question to what we did, okay, was asked in 2017 again, 6 marker, like the question was matrix product and finding the inverse. So both the questions were there in the same thing, and a question came on skew symmetric matrix in 2017. So in 2018 again, one of the questions you can expect for finding the inverse, direct inverse, or a matrix will be given and you can basically expect some relation will be given which will be used to find the inverse. So that basically will be adjoint of the given matrix. And determinants you need to know, again helpful in finding the inverse. And one value based problem is bound to come in matrix, where it might be asked to solve by elementary row, or if the people are kind enough, so they will allow you to solve by method of adjoints. Okay, so moving on to the next problem, it's on differential equation. Now this is again a favorite question of examiners at CBSE level, JEE level and advanced level, like main and advanced. So after probability based theorem, okay, this is probably examiners favorite thing, and the linear differential equation you will always see as a 4 marker. So this year we saw a shift, like 2017, that instead of 1 6 marker there were 2 4 markers as compared to earlier 1 6 marker 1 4 marker. So we can expect one question from homogeneous equation where y by x has to be substituted as v, that is y is equal to vx, and in one of the equations will be like convertible to linear differential equation. So you guys can note down the question. The first question is from linear differential equation. Now here it is not directly linear differential equation. You guys have to divide the expression by x square minus 1 in that, and then you will see that it will be like 2x by x square minus 1 into y, and on the right hand side 2 divided by x square minus 1 whole square. So this is probably one of the questions I brought, you know, this is a previous year question only. So similar to this you will get where you have to transfer terms from one end to another. It will not be a simple linear differential equation. You have to transpose the terms from right to left or something like that. The second question again is a variable, like I told you, homogeneous equation. Once you put y by x, and then you have to solve it by using simple variable separable form. The third can be asked in 1 marker or 2 marker, okay, that it's a direct variable separable form. Although people might go for multiplication at once, but you don't need to do that. It's simply dy by 1 plus y square and is equal to 1 plus x square into dx, right? So basically linear differential equation is one of the most easiest chapter to score, where we know that one of the questions will be there from integrating factor, and the integrating factor we can calculate very easily. And similarly for y by x is equal to v, a very straightforward method. Wherever we see x and y terms involved on both right hand side, left hand side, numerator, denominator, so the question itself will indicate, okay, substitute me, right? So that's what you have to do, and nothing else will be asked from differential equation. So this is one chapter which you can be very sure about in terms of the questions that are going to be asked. The nature of equations may be little complex depending on difficulty level of the exam. Now as far as the analysis is concerned, so as you guys can see, the first problem, 6 mark problem, has been homogeneous equations and variable in all 3 years. So 2017 did not have LDE from differential equations in 6 markers. So both the questions came as 4 markers, linear differential equation, and as you guys can see, there is no exception in pattern of this So if you guys can do the similar thing for other chapters or other years, so you guys can yourself do the things that I'm doing for you, although it takes time, right? But definitely you still have some time left on which you can basically analyze the, let's say, 4 markers. Or if you want any help from our side, definitely you can put in the comment sections, and in whatever way we will be able to help you. We will schedule more webinars for you. We can have one-to-one guidance sessions for you. So in case if you're interested, please do comments. And talking about the important concepts, without any doubt, LDE, homogeneous equations, and variable separable form. Moving on to the next problem, relation functions. So obviously most of the people are very much comfortable in finding inverse, composite functions, domain range. Most of the people practice this. So I have not put a question on that, although question on that is also expected. But binary questions has become favorite over last 4 to 5 years. It's like examiners have noticed that people are focusing less on binary operations, because that's something which is not discussed very clearly in school also. It's like last topic of the chapter, and most of the times teacher rush through binary operations, considering it to be less important. But as far as the boards trend has been observed, so last 3 to 4 years binary operations are coming very frequently. Now this is again a previous year problem only. Now instead of a plus b minus ab, you can have a complex expression, but after that the question is gonna be same. So exactly same question you can see in 2018 paper as well, except for a dot b is equal to a plus b minus ab. That expression will be substituted by, let's say, a plus b or divided by a minus b, or maybe you might be having 2D elements like a b star cd is equal to a plus b over c plus d, like that. So different forms can be given, but do not worry, the basic remains the same. While we are checking that it's commutative associated, we have to swap the elements for commutative, and for associative we have to introduce the third variable. Okay, and identity element, inverse, these things you can always practice. So do practice binary operations, because people have been found to lose marks here. Even as I have been teaching for last 4 to 5 years, so I have seen students making a lot of mistakes, in particular this chapter, okay, this concept. So make sure you guys are practicing, because this is one of the favorites. Now as you guys can see, the questions that have been asked from relations and functions. So equivalence relation used to be examiner's favorite, but from 2015 onwards it was observed that only one question from this chapter was coming. Before that there used to be two questions from this chapter of weighing 10 marks, but now it has been observed that only 1 4 marker or 6 marker is coming. So binary operation is almost the favorite. If you observe like last 4-5 years, it has been asked. So in 2015 also, in other sets it was asked, daily level paper if you check. So binary operation is present, okay. And then in 2017 the choice came for bijection also, that proved that whether the given function is a bijection or not, and then find the inverse of that function. So you guys should be prepared for inverse of function. Binary operations is definitely on the cards, and I believe equivalence relation also is forms a very important part of this unit, and it can be asked because it has not been asked for last 2 years. So there is a chance that this concept can also be asked. Binary operation will be asked for sure, but if 2 questions are going to come, then my bet will be on equivalence relation. Composite functions again, like they will be asking the inverse part. So basically it's almost repetitive part. So we just have to concentrate on binary operations, inverse of a function, and equivalence relation. If we do these 3 parts, nothing else is going to be asked from the relations and functions. Okay, so I guess that will be it for today. And if you want to get some exciting self-study videos and all, so you can go through this link. This is mentioned in comments also. If you have any suggestions, if you want to discuss any topic or anything you would like to have from askIITians end, so you can comment and we will be there for you, and we will guide you for the same, any kinds of difficulty you're facing. And we will be conducting similar webinars in chemistry and physics in the weeks to come. So do watch, stay updated with askIITians page and see whenever they are going live. And you are also invited to give your comments, give your suggestions, valuable suggestions. If you want to ask anything, you can connect to our experts, okay, and you can also connect to me as well as on my Facebook page. So any doubts if you guys are having, you can ask freely, right? So that's it from my end for today. All the very best, guys. Without wasting any time, stay tuned for the coming lectures. All the very best.